so amazing. You see how they playing. Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats, you know that we gotta run it back. Whether on the field or the court, you know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to another edition to Live Wire Sports Media. I'm your host, Marty, and today we're going to talk some Indiana Fever. All right, so the Indiana Fever has been the talk of the town for the last few weeks. Different podcasts, different YouTube channels has been talking about the Fever. There's been a lot of information coming out. And the thing about it is, it's been good information. It's not been the negative information like a Natalie Esquire or Ellen Duncan, some of these other ones that cease to not give Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever like the benefit of the doubt or good PR, if you may say. But for this last week, I came across another podcast, and it's called Good Follow. Now, Good Follow is hosted by I think I forgot her name. I'm trying to look up her name real quick to make sure I get it right. Her name is Roz Olawame and another young lady named Lauren. And they talked about the Indiana Fever. They talked about specific things about the Indiana Fever too. And the one thing that I love that they talked about is Caitlin Clark. Would there be anybody that could replicate what Caitlin Clark is doing in the W or even in college? And because we have so many people right now talking about Juju this, Juju that. They're trying to push Juju so much to the forefront to overtake Caitlin Clark. But you got to understand this. Caitlin Clark she's not an overnight success. She gained her success because of who she is, from a young child to who she is now. Not saying Juju is not a good player, and that's not what I want to say. But when you try to force feed a person down their throat, you tend to regurgitate. You tend to vomit. You tend to throw up. And the thing about it is, you don't want to do that with a Juju Watkins. You've seen it with Paige. Paige is a decent player, despite injuries and everything. But you can't do that. You can't. It has to happen organically. People have to take to these players organically. You can't manufacture the situation. You know what I'm saying? And these young ladies, they went in detail and talked about the Indiana Fever, how they looked in the off-season and everything. And what they did, how exciting it was for them to do the things they did in off-season. So I'm going to play the first clip to talk about the Indiana Fever, then I'm going to get into the second clip.
Absolutely ready, and I want to start with Caitlin Clark because she had a pretty quiet offseason, didn't play in any games or leagues, as a matter of fact, and there weren't a lot of headlines. But with the WNBA season on the horizon, of course the headlines are back because teams are already moving their games against the Fever to larger venues. And then a Fever preseason game at Iowa sold out in 40 minutes. Mind you, that's 15,000 seats. And I actually saw some people saying that there might have been a little inside access because when they went to get the tickets, they were completely sold out already.
Not insider trading.
Yeah, right? Like maybe it was just for Iowa people. I'm not too sure. But everyone wants to see Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect is back. And I'm really keen for her to go into her second season. So do you think that she'll meet the moment? Or, I mean, I don't really know what else she could do other than meet the moment. But what do you think will happen with her?
Yes, I do think Caitlin Clark is going to meet the moment. And I think Caitlin Clark mania and fever, or Clarkonomics, whatever it is they're calling it, I think it only gets bigger and better. I mean, health willing, of course. But I think part of it is, there'll be less resistance this season. And I think that's just because naturally, as the seasons go on, the body of work begins to build itself up. And what comes with that is respect, and hopefully this season, I hope that the conversation moves and the focus moves away from everything that isn't ball. There was so much conversation about gratitude for Caitlin, or race and, tension in America, all this and that. And it was at some point exhausting for all sorts of fans, no matter what sides or beliefs you had. And I feel like this season, we'll have the opportunity to see her physically stronger, mentally rested, better improved. She has a squad and a team of real weapons around her now, real vets who can support her, who can lead her at times. She's got a really great coach coming in. I think she's got everything she needs to be successful. And I hope this season that the way we're discussing Caitlin is about the game and the production. So that means that we can be talking about how she's meeting the expectations, how she's exceeding the expectations, and also have critical conversations about the moments where she isn't living up to the expectation, just as we would for a Victor Wembanyama, just as we would for a Jason Tatum. I think that's the evolution of the conversation, not only around Caitlin Clark, but just women's.
Man, I'm going to have to tell you this. I 100% agree with everything she said, because the negativity around the WNBA has gotten exhausting last year. It has gotten so exhausting. It wasn't about the basketball. It wasn't about the players. It wasn't about Caitlin, her first year, even though we focused so much on it. But it was a lot of negativity. It was so much scrutiny. It was so much jealousy. It was so much I, me type of thing. It was hard to, at some point in time, people was getting turned off because of certain dirty things that was done to Caitlin. We wanted to see Caitlin play. We didn't want to see her getting brutally fouled. We didn't want to see the referees not calling nothing. We didn't want to see all the negative comments, the shots taken, the poke in the eye situation, the flagrant fouls, the crying racism, the Fever fans are racist and all of this stuff. We didn't want to see none of that stuff at all. We wanted to see basketball. That's why the WNBA was so much on the stranglehold for so many years, because of all the political BS that goes along with it. And I have to agree with her, because the fact of the matter is, we just want to see basketball. We want to talk basketball. And that's why, for me personally, I just don't try to deal with a lot of negative stuff, a lot. If it's worth reporting, I'm going to report it. But like I told y'all guys, I have told you, all of my members, all of my subscribers, this year I'm trying to really focus on the game of basketball and the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark. Things come out, I'm gonna report it, but I'm not trying to dabble into the negative aspect of it, and it comes with the territory. So don't get me wrong. If something happens, somebody does something wrong, so yeah, I'm gonna report it. But it's all about making good content and talking about basketball and stuff out there. And the thing about it is, she said something really important. We should be able to critique Caitlin Clark, good or bad. We should be able to critique her game without, if she has a bad game, and say me or somebody else came out with a video and said, hey, Caitlin Clark plays shoot poorly today. She needs to pick it up. She needs to play better. That is not that we hating on Caitlin Clark, but it's a fair assessment. People do it all the time, and And like she said, you should have that healthy dialogue when you talking about a Wembanyama or Jason Tatum and stuff like that. And the same thing, the same way we talk about Angel Reese game, when she does good, we give her flowers. But when she poorly is really bad, we let her have. We get on here and we call it out. So we should be able to do that, without people be like, oh, you hating on Caitlin Clark, or you're not a real Caitlin Clark fan, or real, it should be that. It should be just about sports. People do it from everywhere across the globe for every athlete. And I have done it. I have, like, if my team plays bad, I'm saying they play bad. They playing really bad. You go back to some of my content 2 years ago when I watched the Commanders, and I was like, I had literally lit into them, the coaching staff, the players, everything. But that does not make me not a fan, because I want my team to be better and succeed. Same thing. Like, we was killing Nalissa Smith last year. We was killing Katie Lou Samuelson last year. We was killing Christy Wallace last year. We was killing Aaliyah Boston last year. Aaliyah Boston is still getting killed right now. You know what I'm saying? Lexi Hall, all of them. There was times Caitlin played bad last year. There was times Caitlin couldn't keep her emotion in check last year. But does that mean that she didn't kick ass the rest of the way? Hell yeah, she did. The Indiana Fever did too. And that's how it's supposed to be about sports. We get so much in these notions that people with these hidden agendas, the Natasha Clouds, the Alyssa Thomases, all of them, they want to push these little agendas just to stray away from what it is. They supposed to be one of the best basketball players in the league, but the negativity around them overshadows that completely. Now, this next clip I'm gonna show with them is that they talk about replica, meaning, how can a player replicate something of another player or bring the same kind of impact of another player? And this is very important on this clip right here for y'all to listen to, because the fact of the matter is, they told a bold truth on it. Let's check it out.
Right now, do you think that there's any other players, specifically college players, who can replicate this kind of fandom in the way that we see for Caitlin Clark, Logan?
I honestly don't think so. And I've been thinking about this a ton recently, and it brought me back to a few years ago, or maybe it was last year before, I'm not too sure. I was in the back, like the depths of hell in Adelaide, Australia, doing some like wine tour I did not want to be on. And there were a group of guys, maybe in their 20s. They were talking about Caitlin Clark. Like, she was all the way in the boonies of Australia. So I don't think it can honestly happen. And I think it's because her staple is literally a logo 3, which we have not really seen that often. I mean, hitting a logo 3 is huge for any player, but she was doing it back to back to back games, and that was her trademark. What other player can you say has that type of trademark? And that's where kind of the star and all the eyes on her came from. And especially considering it's kind of how she built her demographic, her fan base, everything. I don't see it. Do you?
So,
to be honest with you, they hit that directly on the head. You know why? Because the fact of the matter is, you can't replicate what Caitlin Clark is doing. You cannot replicate what Caitlin Clark has brought to the game of basketball, college and pros. You can't replicate something that American people love. When you love a person, and a person with a pure heart as Caitlin Clark, a person that walks her walk, handles her business, has the hearts of many to gravitate to, you can't You can't knock that. You can't at all. And American people love that. That's why the Indiana Fever are being dubbed America's team right now. With the move they made in free agency, who Caitlin Clark is, her teammates. That team is built around non-negativity. Yeah, you might have some questionable players over there that have some questionable stuff in the past, but if you look at the Fever, they trying to be in a different light. This is what makes America's team, because people gravitate to that team or gravitate to that person. You cannot replicate Caitlin Clark. I don't care how much you try to push Juju Watkins. I don't care how much you try to push Paige Beckers. There is no college player can do what Caitlin Clark has done for the game of basketball. And Juju, they trying to push Juju so hard. And like I said, I don't have nothing against Juju Watkins. I think she's a hell of a talent. But she doesn't have that cachet that Caitlin Clark has. She doesn't. If you look at Juju Watkins, her facial expression says it all. Her eye, I mean, that's just a look. You know, how she looks sleepy looking. She on the court looked nonchalant half the times. But when you talk to her, she sounds like a really wonderful person. But you putting something on her that is going to be impossible to carry. You're not going to be able to carry that torch like Caitlin Clark. I don't care how much they try to push you. They talked about what they expect for Caitlin Clark in the second year. And Maya Moore hit this on the head. The same thing with Kelly. I mean, not Kelly, but Stephanie White. Leadership. She wants Caitlin Clark to lead this team, but not just vocally, but by your character. You could be a leader in so many different ways. And I think Caitlin Clark is up for the challenge. I think her first year, she kind of like took a seat back. She kind of played a little bit here and there. She didn't want to ruffle her teammates' feathers. But in the second half, you saw her got a little bit more comfortable. Same thing here in the second season. This team is fully hers. Everybody needs to know that this is Caitlin Clark's team. As far as Caitlin Clark go, as far as the Indiana Fever go, everybody else is going to be on board. And that's how you build a championship team. Again, Roz and Jordan on this podcast, go follow. You can find them on YouTube, the full length. And also, thanks to Ken Swift about this. Ken Swift, man, he's be on these video clips on X. And thank you for these video clips. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can find Kent Swift on X and Xly, and then go follow with Roz and Logan. They spoke no negativity, clean WNBA tape. And that's how it's supposed to be. And I'll leave the full link to the day episode in the description. But until then, like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Comment below. Until the next episode, Live Wire Sports Media. And I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live Wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.